Hello, everybody. So I'm Sonja Desnica from Croatian Agency for the Environment and Nature, and I will tell a little bit about legal framework for invasive alien species in Croatia. A very, very short introduction just to see where Croatia is located on the map of Europe, and to mention that on 1st July 2013, Croatia became 28th member state of the European Union. There are three biogeographical regions in Croatia. So we have a Mediterranean region, then Alpine and continental. And it's very rich in biodiversity. It has 40,000 known species, but estimated number is far higher, and a very large number of endemics, the most of them within flora, karstic, subterranean fauna, and freshwater fish. Regarding legal framework, the issue of alien species is multi-sectoral issue. So it's under the competence of several different sectors, and it's governed by different regulations. So all those regulations listed here, they have some provisions that deal with alien species in their field of work. So some of those provisions are more precise, some are more on the general level. For example, the Islands Act, it has a list of game species that are forbidden to introduce on the islands, and that's quite clear. Then the Plant Health Act, to be more precise, the ordinance, so it's by law, the ordinance on the measures to prevent introduction and spread of the organisms harmful to the plants. It also has a list of the organisms that are forbidden to import, and if they are observed, the immediate measures can be taken to eradicate them. But for example, the Forestry Act, it is more general. It says that, so it encourages forest managers to plant native species and to be cautious with alien species, to use alien species only if it's assessed and proven that they will not do any harm to the nature. But it's not really well described how are they assessing that impact, who is assessing it, so it's more on the general level. So in a way to overcome this scatter, or to approach on more comprehensive level to the issue of alien species, in 2013 the new Nature Protection Act was put into force, and it had some procedures and mechanisms described in a better way, and it can be considered the main act for the alien species in Croatia. So a little bit about this act. So it developed and improved national policy framework on nature protection and alien species. And to go a little bit further into the act, I just want to mention two bodies that are the main bodies for implementation of that act and for the nature protection in Croatia. So the first body is Ministry of the Environmental Protection, Environmental and Nature Protection, and it's a central state administration body, so it issues permits. And the other body is Croatian Agency for the Environment and Nature. I work for that agency, and it's a central institution dealing with expert tasks, so it's advisory body. It advises ministry with its expert opinions on the issues dealing with the alien species. So just a few articles of the Nature Protection Act that are dealing with alien species and that are important for us. So Article 68 says that import, placing on the market of the Republic of Croatia, and introduction into the nature on the territory of the Republic of Croatia of alien taxa is forbidden, if you do not have a permission. But if you want to import something, place on the market, introduce into the nature, you have to hand a request for permission, and you can ask permission according to 2 articles. The Article 69 is about import, placing on the market, and introduction into the nature, and the Article 78 is about breeding or cultivating of alien taxa. So the procedure goes like this. Legal or physical body, I will call it a client, hands a request to the ministry. Then ministry asks agency for the expert opinion, and then agency conducts ecological risk assessment. And if the conclusion is that these alien species do not pose ecological risk, or that the risk is very low, then we advise the ministry to issue the permit to the body. And if we cannot exclude ecological risk, or if there is a possibility that it's quite high, we advise ministry not to issue the permit if risk assessment of invasiveness is not conducted. So this is the point where the client can or give up from his project, or to engage consultant firm that will make a risk assessment study, and according to the conclusion of that risk assessment study, that has to be revised in the agency again. The decision is made if that person will get the issue to import, place on the market, breed, or the issue will not be issued. And that is all under this ordinance, so how that risk assessment study is performed. Another 2 articles that are important is Article 86, that deals with escape to the nature, and it said that it is the obligation of the owner to prevent the escape, and the owner is responsible for the damage. And Article 73 that says in case of accidental introduction of alien species into the nature, the competent authority, the ministry, can issue an order on removing or preventing the further spread of introduced alien species. But since 2013, when the Act entered into force, only 3 such orders were issued, and all 3 of them were about animals, none of them about plant species. One of them was about wild boars on the islands, so that's why I put this funny picture of the wild boar. And my last slide, if it will work. Okay. So I already mentioned at the beginning that Croatia in 2013 became the member of European Union, and since at the beginning of 2015 the EU regulation on invasive alien species entered into force. In order to transfer all the necessary enforcement and misdemeanor provisions into national legislation, but also to regulate in more comprehensively way this quite extensive and specific issue of invasive alien species, it was decided to single out the issue of invasive alien species out of the existing Nature Protection Act, and to put it in the completely different separate act on invasive alien species. So the Inter-Ministerial Task Force was established, or Inter-Ministerial Group, in 2014, and this group that was consisted of members from different ministries, from agriculture, forestry, then customers, financing, so everybody who has something to do with the alien species. They worked on that new legislation, and last year, the legislation was finished. It's called the Act on Prevention of the Introduction and Spread of Alien and Invasive Alien Species and Their Management. But it's still not into force. It passed some legal procedures, but okay, we had elections in the meantime and establishment of new government and everything, and all that was a quite long process. So this legislation stopped for a little period, but now I suppose in next few months it will come into force. And the two bylaws that are foreseen with this act is a regulation that will lay down detailed criteria on how is the procedure to perform ecological risk assessment and invasiveness risk assessment, and that is in preparation. We started to work on it. And the other bylaw is ordinance that will bring white and black list. So we have some drafts now. So white list is the list of the species that can be imported, put on the market, bred with no restrictions. And the black list is the list with the species that are of national concern, for the Republic of Croatia, and their import, their placing on the market, breeding, exchanging, keeping, or whatever is prohibited. So this is a work in front of us to work on this regulation and ordinance. So afterwards, if you have any good advice, suggestion on anything, I would be very grateful for any piece of advice. Okay. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for keeping the time. So we have time. We have 5 minutes for questions.
I have one question as regards the issuing of permits for alien species. You said that trading with alien species is prohibited, but is it like for every plant species in the horticulture you give permission, or maybe there is some point that, for example, if someone wishes to introduce to the market new species after 2000 that is new on the market, then he has to have a permission, or any alien plant on the market needs to have a permission for trading? And the second question is, if you have some experience with Paulownia tomentosa, is it invasive in your country? Because there are some producers in Poland that would like to make plantations in Poland of Paulownia. Thank you.
Okay, so regarding the first question, well, yes, all the plant species on the market should have permit, but I know there are some other acts you saw, for example, the Forestry Act, and they have a list of plants that that do exist in Croatia, but some of them are alien, and that is not regulated by us. So we do not have control over everything, but the things that are put on market, they have to ask us our opinion. And regarding the other thing, we had lots of public fuss around the Paulownia species. Okay, Paulownia tomentosa, our ecological risk assessment showed that it is potentially quite invasive. So there is no issue. No permit is issued for that species, but for other species of Paulownia, we couldn't find information on their invasiveness, and we said that we cannot claim that there is a risk of invasiveness. So They are planting them, they are breeding them, but now other problems arouse with the Ministry of Agriculture. They have some problems because they're planting them on the good agricultural soil. So that's now it's becoming the a state problem. So we stopped with the issuing permits, and now we are sending the clients to the Ministry of Agriculture first to try to find some solution, but it's still in the process.
Other question or comment?